In a vast, green forest, where sunlight dappled through ancient trees and the air hummed with life, lived a powerful lion named Rudin. Rudin was the undisputed king of this forest. His muscles rippled with strength. His movements were swift and silent, and his roar could make the very ground tremble. Every animal, from the lumbering elephant to the shyest rabbit, held Rudin in awe and fear. But beneath this magnificent exterior, Rudin carried a great weakness, a flaw that was as large as his strength is pride. Every morning, without fail, as the first golden rays of dawn painted the sky, Rudin would climb to the highest hilltop. From this vantage point, he would look out over his domain, his chest puffed out, and let out a deafening roar that echoed through every corner of the forest. "I am the king," he would bellow, his voice filled with arrogance. "No one in this entire forest is smarter or stronger than me. No one?" The animals below would pause in their morning routines, listening in a mixture of fear and reluctant respect. They knew better than to challenge him, but high up in the canopy of an old oak tree, a tiny brown squirrel named Nimi would watch, her bright, intelligent eyes observing the king's daily ritual in quiet contemplation. One sweltering afternoon, when the sun beat down mercilessly and the air was thick with heat, Rudin was patrolling his territory. As he padded along a well-trodden forest path, he spotted something unusual: a deep, shadowy pit near the edge of the trail. Curious, he peered over the edge. Down below, nestled at the bottom of the pit, were clusters of shiny, delicious-looking fruits and a small, inviting pool of cool, clear water. The sight was incredibly tempting in the oppressive heat. A greedy gleam entered Rudin's eyes. He stood tall, raised his head, and announced to the silent forest, "This pit, and all the treasures within it, belong to me. I, King Rudin, claim it. No one else is allowed to drink from it or touch these fruits." Having made his grand declaration, Rudin leaned forward, eager to get a closer look at his newfound prize. But the edge of the pit was loose and crumbly from the dry heat. As he shifted his weight, his powerful front paw slipped on the loose earth. There was a sudden scramble, a cloud of dust, and then, thud! The mighty, proud lion tumbled head over heels, landing with a heavy thump at the bottom of the deep pit. The fall stunned him for a moment. He shook his magnificent mane, his pride stinging more than any physical injury. He looked up at the steep, smooth walls of his earthen prison. He gathered his powerful legs beneath him and tried to jump. He leaped with all his might, his claws scrabbling against the dirt, but he couldn't even reach halfway up. He tried again and again, his frustration mounting with each failed attempt. He let out a furious roar, a sound that was usually enough to make any creature cower. But here, in the pit, the sound was muffled and hollow, swallowed by the earth. It was a roar not of power, but of desperation. Hours crawled by. The scorching afternoon sun slowly began its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The lively sounds of the forest gradually faded into a hushed stillness as evening approached. Rudin's roars had quieted, replaced by weary growls. He was tired, thirsty, and his spirit was beginning to break. Just as despair started to creep in, he heard a tiny, hesitant voice from above. He looked up to see a small, furry face peeking over the edge of the pit. It was Nimi, the squirrel. She looked down at the trapped king, her expression not one of triumph, but of gentle concern. "Great king," she chirped softly, her voice barely a whisper. "Do you need some help?" Rudin's pride, though battered, was not yet broken. The thought of accepting help from such a small, insignificant creature was infuriating. He glared up at her, his golden eyes flashing with anger. "Go away, you little pest," he growled, his voice a low rumble of frustration. "I am Rudin, the king of this forest. I don't need help from someone so small and weak." Nimi didn't respond to his harsh words. She simply stayed where she was, perched on the edge, her little paws clasped together, watching him silently. She didn't leave. As the last sliver of the sun disappeared below the horizon, and the first stars began to dot the darkening sky, a deep chill settled into the pit. Rudin's strength was completely gone. His throat was parched, his body ached, and a profound loneliness enveloped him. The arrogance that had defined him for so long had evaporated, leaving behind only fear and regret. He looked up again at the silhouette of the small squirrel, who was still there, a silent, patient sentinel. Finally, with all his pride stripped away, Rudin's voice came out as a weak, broken whisper. "Please, help me!" The moment Nimi heard those words, she sprang into action. She didn't gloat or remind him of his earlier arrogance. She simply scampered away, her tiny feet flying across the forest floor. She went first to the mighty elephant, whose strength was legendary. Then she found the swift-footed deer, the chattering monkeys in the high branches, and the wise old birds. She explained the king isi predicamento, and to her surprise, there was no hesitation. United by a common purpose, they all followed the little squirrel back to the pit. What followed was a remarkable display of teamwork and ingenuity. The monkeys, agile and quick, climbed the tallest trees and gnawed through thick, sturdy vines. The elephant, using its powerful trunk, carefully lowered the ends of the vines down into the pit. The deer and birds stood by, offering encouragement and keeping watch. Rudin looked up at the ropes of green hanging before him. Hope surged through his weary body. He grasped the vines with his paws and, with a great, final effort, began to climb. The animals above held the vines steady, their combined strength supporting their king. Finally, with a heave, Rudin pulled himself over the edge and collapsed onto the soft forest floor, panting and exhausted. He lay there for a long brown squirrel, Nimi, who stood bravely before him. The mighty lion, the king of the forest, stood quietly. His head, once held so high in arrogance, was now bowed in humility. From that day forward, the forest noticed a profound change in their king. The morning roars of pride from the hilltops ceased. When the animals gathered at the watering hole, Rudin no longer demanded to drink first. Instead, he would wait patiently, often drinking only after the smallest and weakest had quenched their thirst. He became a king not just of power, but of wisdom and compassion. And whenever he saw Nimi, the squirrel scampering through the trees, a genuine, warm smile would touch the mighty lion's face. He had learned the most important lesson of all, that true strength isn't about how loudly you can roar or how much you can command. True strength is found in listening, and true wisdom is found in respecting everyone, no matter how big or how small. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales that warm the heart and teach us valuable lessons. See you next time!